Good morning, everybody. Thanks for having me. I'm Lorraine Milburn. I'm running for the Ohio House in District 48, which is North Canton, Perry Township, and Jackson Township. And just kind of a quick background on me. I had kind of a hard-scrabble childhood. I started out in foster care as a baby, ended up with my grandparents, and then later on with my father who struggled with addiction. When I graduated from high school, I really wanted to attend college, but I didn't have the money to do it. So I worked for a number of years and bartended and some odd jobs here and there, and eventually put myself through college with a combination of bartending and student loans, which I'm still paying. I studied sociology. I always, public advocacy was always something that I wanted to do that I did in my personal and professional life up until that point. I worked in domestic violence shelters. I worked in healthcare advocacy with young women. And after college, I worked in the National Institutes of Health and Public Health, working in the vaccine program, trying to eradicate HIV/AIDS all over the world. And so every professional and personal choice I've made for volunteer work and professional work has been to advocate for others and make the lives of others better. One of the reasons I decided to run for office was because I should say that the decision started very early on. After the election, I tried to speak with my opponent about health care, and I could not get a meeting. He wouldn't sit down at a table with me and discuss my issues with health care. And so that started, the wheels spinning for me. And I thought, I'm going to replace this guy. At that time, it wasn't me that was going to replace him. I started asking friends that I thought were capable and could do a really good job running for office and do a good job as an elected. And everyone kept turning it back on me and saying, well, why don't you do it, Lorraine? So eventually I came to that decision and decided, no, I could do this. And so here I am running for office. And it was absolutely the right decision for me because I think the best way to have a positive impact on my community and here in the state of Ohio is to affect legislation. And so I'm happy I made this choice. I am actually running predominantly on my issues are healthcare, education, and funding our local governments. Healthcare is a big issue for me, obviously, because I've worked in healthcare and in public health, and we're not doing enough to make sure people have affordable access to healthcare. Education is also a very important issue to me. I'm a mom. I have 2 children, 9 and 11. I am a product of public schools. I went to a public college. Both of my children are in public schools. I believe in public education. I believe education is the great equalizer. And I think we've paid a lot of lip service to this idea that our public schools are failing. Our public schools are not failing. I am proof of that. But we're not funding our public schools adequately. We're not giving our educators what they need. And our funding here in Ohio is unconstitutional. So there's your answer to the question. I do not feel that the quality of your education should be determined by the zip code you live in and the public wealth of the zip code you live in. We can do far better for the students in the state of Ohio. We can do far better for our educators. And that's one of the reasons I'm very pleased to be here. I will definitely be an advocate for public education if I am elected. And as I say often, our representatives need to speak to the stakeholders. That's their constituents. That's the people who do the job, the experts in the field, of which you are. And I don't think that's happening. So you can rest assured that I will definitely, if I were to make decisions regarding education, I would want to talk to you first. I would, I'm not the one who has all the answers. You are. So that's it. Thank you.
It isn't just money that the school districts worry about. We also worry about policy. Quite frankly, the Ohio General Assembly, especially in the last 15 years, has made education somewhat of a political football when it's been convenient to do it. And 2 issues come to mind. One is the report card. The other is the graduation requirements. And just to set the first question up, in 2011, and you were there, Christina, in 2011, when people testified, when the new report cards came in, the A, B, C, D, F report cards, people came to you and they testified and they said, look, don't do this is terrible. But because at the time, it was impacting high poverty urban districts first and most, you're not important, we don't care about you. Now that it's hurting the suburbans and the more affluent ones, everybody's running and jumping on the bandwagon saying, oh my God, we have to get rid of this. We were a political football. and the General Assembly hurt a lot of kids. Graduation requirements, the same thing. You're potentially facing a graduation crisis in this state next year if the General Assembly doesn't do something. Again, that wasn't about education or education outcomes. As Casey accurately said, Ohio's educational attainment outcomes have plummeted since the General Assembly's been doing this. So I want to know from each of you, that context, but from each of you, what is your vision for first getting the General Assembly to stop hurting public education? And secondly, to work on that equity piece so that we don't have to come back to you with things like this all the time.
Can I add a statistic to him, just to support what you're saying, graduation hot topic? Clearly, I'm the Mahoney County Educational Service Center superintendent. We service over 40 districts. We have 22 that partner with us fully. So we have 50,000 students that we impact. We are still crunching the numbers, but on average, we're anticipating about 16% of the kids in the Valley. So Trumbull, Mahoney, Columbiana, some of Portage County, and I think some of Stark is in with us. We anticipate about 16% of those kids who used an alternative graduation pathway last year. So if there's not an answer to this quickly, we have 16% of our kids not getting diplomas. And in addition to that, has anyone considered what that does to our welfare system, what that does to the amount of taxes we're paying, what we're going to do now, that overcrowding of senior classes, and all of those sorts of things. Just since he's the light guy, I thought I'd just give you all that together.
Thank you.
Something I said earlier, I don't feel that the stakeholders are being brought to the table, and we do need balance. We can't have any one party rule. We all have solutions to bring to the table. We all bring a perspective that is helpful to, and that's the only way this is going to happen. I would like to see our educators treated as the experts in the field, as they are. I feel like educators are treated as technicians, and you're not consulted when these policy decisions are made. And that's why we're in the position we're in. So, again, just to kind of second everything.
Employing someone to start, and I'm happy to give you my card. I've only been in this position for 5 weeks, but I was a superintendent before this, so I get both perspectives very clearly. I'd love to work with someone that will work on really just looking at what's best for all districts and all kids. We don't hear superintendents complaining too much about open enrollment, as much as I despise it. It's something I think that we've all unfortunately learned to live with. It's like we're not being recorded, are we? It's like our in-laws. Oh, we are? Edit that out. You learn to live with them, right? It's not something that you necessarily want to do, but you learn to live with it. This is really putting a roadblock in us doing what's truly best, possibly, for some of those kids. So any ideas on, were you aware of that? Or
start getting rid of them. But let me ask you about House Bill 70, because that really impacts our district. You voted for it. Is it still correct?
Oh, but I've been through 4 House Bill 70, so if you please
The
specify.
Youngstown one.
Oh, I voted, pretty sure I voted against that one, actually. I was one of the few that did. Yeah,
House Bill
that's
70
the-
started out as wraparound
It
services.
started about as
I
something
modified
completely different.
Right, I'm pretty sure I voted against that
If
one.
I have that incorrect, I'm
Yeah.
sorry, but is House Bill 70 okay? House Bill 70 is the Youngstown one. Districts like Kansas City are 4 or 5 of them. Is it okay?
What do you mean, is it okay?
I mean, if you had, House Bill 70 is probably for a high poverty urban district right now in Ohio. House Bill 70 is one of our biggest threats.
Okay, so
We
we're
worry
talking about
about
the
it.
CEOs?
Yeah.
Yeah,
With
right.
the Academic Distress
Distress, so
Commission,
yes,
that is of major concern. And the legislature
The legislature passed
did
it.
that to us
I voted against it.
in a basically, dark of night quiet thing and just drop this on at the last minute, silly season kind of bill. First of all, is it okay, and what would you do about it?
Well, I just told you I voted against it.
Should it be overturned?
Well, yes, I think so.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean,
Yeah, I disagree with it completely. It should be overturned.
Same. I haven't read it.
I've not read it.
Let me just, I just want to mention a few things, and we don't have to get into the weeds on this, but when House Bill 70 was pushed, it was obviously, there was a big push from the administration to get that language regarding the academic distress commissions put in to the law. Since then, there's many, especially there are many in leadership positions that are pushing to change what was put in place. And there is a lot in the legislature now that have recognized this isn't working. We need to take a different approach. We have had pushback from the administration and threats of vetoes that actually going through during this General Assembly. So it will be something we'll be looking at in the next General Assembly going forward if we can't get anything done throughout the rest of this year in the session. So I just wanted to add a few comments there.
Can I just real quick about the
Sure.
charter school? You said that you're disturbed that people aren't talking about eliminating charter schools. I'd like to address that really quickly.
yeah, me too.
I think charter schools are a challenging issue. I disagree with them being for-profit. First of all, I don't think anyone should make profit off of educating our children. So I think it should be reformed, at the very least, to be a nonprofit system. And then the other piece of it is I've spoken to parents, voters, who have children who are in charter schools for various reasons. And some of them have very legitimate concerns and reasons for choosing charter schools. So I don't necessarily think it's the best thing for all students to eliminate charter schools, but we definitely need to overhaul this system. It's not serving our communities well, and in some cases, stealing money from our children, our taxpayers. So this is a system that needs to be radically reformed, and these things really need to be addressed immediately. In my opinion, I have talked to parents on both sides who have been hurt by the charter school system and been helped. In every instance.
A little troubled that you're all talking about charter schools, but not in the sense of maybe we ought to start getting rid of them. But let me ask you about House Bill 70, because that really impacts our district. You voted for it. Is it still correct?
But I've been through 4 House Bill 70, so if you please
The
specify.
Youngstown one.
Oh, I voted, pretty sure I voted against that one, actually. I was one of the few that did. Yeah,
House Bill
the
70
CEO.
started out as revenue services.
It started about as
And
something
modified
completely
in the
different.
Senate.
Right, I'm pretty sure I voted against that
If
one.
I have that incorrect, I'm
Yeah.
sorry, but is House Bill 70 okay? House Bill 70 is the Youngstown one. Districts like Kansas City are 4 or 5 of them. Is it okay?
What do you mean, is it okay?
I mean, if you had, House Bill 70 is probably for a high-poverty urban district right now in Ohio. House Bill 70 is one of our biggest threats.
Okay, so
We
we're
worry
talking about
about
the
it.
CEOs?
Yeah.
Taking over- Yeah,
With
right.
the academic distress
Distress, so
commission,
yes, right, so-
that is of major concern. And the legislature
The legislature passed
did
it.
that to us
I voted against it.
in a basically, dark of night, quiet thing and just drop this on at the last minute, silly season kind of bill. First of all, is it okay, and what would you do about it?
Well, I just told you I voted against it.
Should it be overturned?
Well, yes, I think so.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean,
Yeah, I disagree with it completely. It should be overturned.
Same. I haven't read it.
I've not read it.
Let me just, I just want to mention a few things, and we don't have to get into the weeds on this, but when House Bill 70 was pushed, it was obviously, there was a big push from the administration to get that language regarding the academic distress commissions put in to the law. Since then, there's many, especially there are many in leadership positions that are pushing to change what was put in place. And there is a lot in the legislature now that have recognized this isn't working. We need to take a different approach. We have had pushback from the administration and threats of vetoes that actually going through during this General Assembly. So it will be something we'll be looking at in the next General Assembly going forward if we can't get anything done throughout the rest of this year in the session. So I just wanted to add a few comments there.
Can I just real quick about the
Sure.
charter school? You said that you're disturbed that people aren't talking about eliminating charter schools. I'd like to address that really quickly.
Yeah, me too.
I think charter schools are a challenging issue. I disagree with them being for-profit. First of all, I don't think anyone should make profit off of educating our children. So I think it should be reformed, at the very least, to be a nonprofit system. And then the other piece of it is I've spoken to parents, voters, who have children who are in charter schools for various reasons. And some of them have very legitimate concerns and reasons for choosing charter schools. So I don't necessarily think it's the best thing for all students to eliminate charter schools, but we definitely need to overhaul this system. It's not serving our communities well, and in some cases, stealing money from our children, our taxpayers. So this is a system that needs to be radically reformed, and these things really need to be addressed immediately. In my opinion, I have talked to parents on both sides who have been hurt by the charter school system and been helped. In every instance, we need to fix the system. So.